I want to actually walk through the process of actually selling a machine, or Wajax, or buying a machine through Wajax, and just sort of having an understanding and an expectation of what clients have when they come to Wajax.
Yeah, so actually on the, Wajax sells a lot of equipment, even a lot of mobile equipment in our construction and forestry divisions where it's a lot more like buying a car. Our construction and forestry guys would probably punch me if they heard me say that. But what I mean by that is that the excavator or the forestry machine is sitting on our lot assembled and it's ready to go. Mining equipment is a whole different story. If you think about our largest mining shovel, the EX8000, it's an 800-ton machine. So it's a house. It's a small apartment building. So we can't deliver that built. It comes in something like 25 truckloads after it ships to us from the factory in Japan. And so it's a massive project once we sell one of these. So there's a huge project in itself, of course, in selling this equipment. Sometimes it happens in a relatively short order. Say a customer has a need because maybe their machine, hits the end of its useful life. They didn't do a good job planning. But in most cases in the mining space, they're very forward thinking. They've got long range plans, and so they're working, months and years in advance to make these large asset purchases. And so we typically have a lot of time, and it's a very large process to go through typically with RFPs and all that. So once we actually sell the machine, a group that works under my team then sort of starts off to the races. So we manage it like a project. We've got a large rolling action item list system that we work through to basically make sure we've got all of our I's dotted and the T's crossed. So it starts with an interaction between the operations team and the sales team to understand what we sold to the customer. What are the options? What are the special things that they want? It also talks about different contractual requirements. We build these machines on the customer sites, so there's different safety requirements that we have to go through depending on the site. Sometimes we're 100% responsible for the area, the build pad. It becomes sort of like it's almost like an embassy in a foreign country, if you will. It's like a couple hundred square meters of Wajax within that site. Other times we're under the very careful, watchful eye of the customer. So there's a lot of things like that to work through. There's of course the machines either already in our inventory or on its way. Lots of customer specific options that we need to pull together to make sure we have ready. We have to make sure that we've got our build crew ready to go. So we typically run these projects with what we call a mining project superintendent. So think of that as sort of the foreperson or the lead person on the job. They're not turning wrenches, they're not building the shovel, but they're making sure that everything logistically is in place. They're making sure that the technicians are briefed every day on what the work scope is, making sure that any sort of out of the ordinary work or large lifts, things like that everyone's properly briefed to do it safely and properly. They're doing safety checks, quality checks, things like that along the way, reporting back to both internally to our team and also externally to the customer. We have a daily sort of report process that happens. And, for those of us that aren't at the build site, it's kind of neat because you get to get a feel for where we're at, especially early on in the project as the machine goes together. You see it being built and pictures, and everybody likes to see that progress. So it's a pretty significant undertaking. Like I said, of an EX8000, it's 24 plus, full semi loads of equipment. Typically, it's the first couple of weeks of the project is getting the laydown all set, getting everything organized, and building the core structure of the machine. So it looks like it's done probably within 3 weeks, but there's a ton of work still to do after that, which is all the optional add-ons that the customers have. Things like fire suppression systems, cold weather packages, which are pretty critical. Today I'm sitting in Fort Mac where a lot of our equipment is, and it's minus 32 last time I checked.
Oh,
So
that's warm for Fort
lots
Mac.
of special things that they don't need elsewhere in the world that we do. So that's why, they don't come from Hitachi factories, so to speak. We put them on here. So a lot of work that happens there, typically in the EX8000 build could take up to 2 months, depending on the site that it's on, depending on whether we're able to work around the clock or have to stick to day shifts, all sorts of things like that.